Hi, this is Andrew Stanton, here
Hi.
to talk about John Carter, which I guess my first question is, you've obviously been working on this and developing it for a long time, right?
Yeah, 6 years.
Wow. What was it like to make the live action leap? And was it harder or easier than you imagined originally?
I think I imagined it would be really, really hard, and I was right. So I can't say I was shocked by that, the scale of it, or shocked by the army scale of it. You could easily, it was like looking down over a great height. I mean, you could easily stare at it and really think about it and psych yourself out. So I just learned not to do that. I think the thing that I was shocked about is because the industry of making a live action film is about, 100 years old.
Mm.
And animation, that industry is about 70 years old. I thought that I would be walking into an even more well-oiled machine and was shocked at how much of it is, how much more of it is structured around chaos than I thought. I knew it was, but not to that extent.
But chaos that works in the end?
I'd say it's a good mix of 50%. If you talked to me at the very beginning, I would have said 100% of the chaos is unnecessary. Right. And by the end of it, I'd probably say 50% at best is necessary. Yeah. And I learned some of the secret sauce of that chaos. Yeah. But there's a bunch. There's a bunch of it that's unnecessary. Yeah. I mean, I come from the world that's got nothing but planning and no chaos, and maybe it could use a little spontaneity. So it was interesting to be this sort of visitor of two worlds, and be comparing notes and realizing that there's a middle ground somewhere that could be even better. Yeah.
Since you've been developing this for so long, 6 years, like you said, I'm sure it has obviously evolved. And beyond that, I mean, we've heard for years and years that it's been trying to be adapted forever. And I'm just wondering how it evolved over the years and what got it to the point it's at.
Well, its evolution up to my involvement, I purposely didn't know much about. I still am learning now about what the plans were. Like the first time I talked to Harry Knowles 2 days ago, he told me more than I ever knew about what they were thinking of doing on these other versions of it. I never knew like Favreau's was going to be modern day. So I kind of purposely kept blinders on because I've been carrying my vision of what I wanted to see, which was very more literal to the books, because I don't give much value to what are today's audience going to think? What are these demographics? I mean, if I used that, I would have never written or done any of the movies we've done. Part of Pixar's assets is that we ignore the outside world 100%. And we just, the best I can equate it to, we are in our own garage with the door closed, not listening to the radio, and we're just writing the music we want to play. And it's really that basic. And so we have to work a little harder in today's society to block our vision and our ears from what's out there and keep it as pure and as and artist driven as we can make it. And that's the environment I work under. So I'm very superstitious about that. So I was like, I just want to write what I've always pictured in my head. And even if it changes, I want it to change for the most honest reasons based on story needs, not based on fear of what other people might think. Fear is the worst thing to make any decision on in life, let alone making a movie. Oh, I'm afraid it won't make money. Oh, I'm afraid people won't get it. Oh, I'm afraid that this generation... That is the worst way to make anything. And if you are thinking like that, you're already off on the wrong foot and you're handicapped. You should be doing what is, you're going to make mistakes. Believe me, after working in an environment for 20 years that's pure, you're going to make a million mistakes anyway. Why add to misguided mistakes that you don't need? You just want the pure mistakes you're going to have, because nobody makes anything good. They make stuff that's got potential, and then they work on it until it becomes good. And it's like saying nobody gets on a bike and then just rides it. Everybody gets on a bike and falls over. Well, that's movie making. So the mistakes are part of it. Jamming and playing the wrong notes is part of the process. And movie making outside of Pixar is in this weird, fucked up way where they think, how can we make it without any mistakes and without everything going right? And you're like, that is like just like ignoring what you really do to make something good. Yeah. So on this project, I was just like, I just want to go to the book, and I'm just going to start writing, and I'm going to include 2 other writers that also love the books, and we're going to not talk about anything else, but just this property right here in the room with us, and we're just going to do whatever it takes. And the only thing that I adjusted it to, that I pushed on it, was I want it to come across historically accurate, even though there is no history. I want it to feel like a Terry Gilliam production value. I wanted to make it feel like Last Temptation of Christ. I want it to feel like a good historical drama, whether it's a miniseries or whatever. I just wanted you to feel like we did our Martian history really correct, and have it as gritty and as authentic as you could possibly make these fantastical ideas. And so to me, if I had any mandate, it was that. And I don't know if anybody else was going to do that, but that was me.
I wanted to know what exactly in this version finally made it click, that finally made it be like, this is the movie we can actually make and that Disney's going to fund, and what was it that made everything finally work?
I don't know if I knew this would be it, but this was my agenda. Was you can do anything now. You can see anything now, and you can make things so sexy. You can make things so whiz bang blow up.
Right.
And I'm like, could you make just a completely CG fantastical creature just calmly stand there and just have a long bit of dialogue with another character, with no flashy animation, no movement of the hands, no explosions, just stand there quietly and just talk forever with another guy and be interested? And can the opposite of what everybody thinks is spectacle hold our interest and be believable? So that was our test. Our test was just 2 guys talking, just looking out at the sky. And once we had that, then I said, now that's our movie. Our movie, our character. This book is so chock full of action and spectacle that we have to actually fight against it. We have to actually make sure that we're having real conversations, real relationships, and real character development. And so I knew if I made a test that was all of its interest was hanging on that purely, then I knew we'd have the real tool that we needed to make it work. Because anybody can make cool spectacle stuff. Yeah. And I'm not saying it's easy. I'm just saying like anybody can fall into that trap and just rely on that to be the movie. Yeah. And I didn't want that to be just be the movie.
Was seeing Avatar and the way they made that sort of a sign for you guys to show?
I was already pregnant by then.
Okay.
Avatar came out and I'd already done a year of prep and was starting to shoot the next week.
But because I was on the set too, and just seeing the way you shot everything with the facial capture.
Well, I was fortunate that my producer Colin Wilson had also worked on Avatar. So before Avatar was out and any of you had seen it, he said, "You want these head cams." Yeah. So I benefited from the background technology that was, I didn't care. It was whatever worked.
Yeah. What, I guess, was your favorite part of the experience of making John Carter?
I don't think there was one. I think to me, there's kind of 3 things that, and they're kind of consistent even on an animated movie. It's working with the talent, and in this instance, I'd have to say it's all simultaneous on live action. It's so wonderful. You get to have your meetings with your cameramen and your lighters and your actors and your crew all at the same time, and it's all in this concert dance for this one moment. So honestly, in the moment of shooting and plan and going and getting into the rhythm was by far my favorite there. And then the other is seeing the end result of animation come to life and believe it. And that's my next third. And then my third is just when the music comes on. When the music gets finally put on as this final key element. Those are the 3 most thrilling parts. I couldn't, if I had to pick between those 3, I'd have a tough time.
Well, I understand. It's like the love of seeing the movie come together. And
I guess I'm describing and I've always said this, I don't have a singular favorite. I've always been in love with the whole process of making a movie. Yeah. And that's sort of what I'm in love with.
Yeah. Well, I think it shows in your work.
Oh, cool. Thanks, man.
Well, thank you for being here.
All right.
Appreciate it.
Sure.
Thanks.